Okay.
All right. Good evening. Welcome to the January 12th, 2022 meeting of the Poolesville Planning Commission. On the agenda this evening, we have citizens' comments. Tony, do we have anybody in the waiting to comment?
No.
All right. Have any announcements from staff or Barton? Do you have any announcements?
I don't have any announcements, no.
John?
Yeah, just real quick. The notification came down to us this afternoon that the high school is going to add 3 additional to what was already approved, 3 additional temporary classrooms. I gather they're doing renovations and they're pushing students out at present time out of some of those rooms, or teachers aren't happy with them, whatever. But they're going to bring in 3 additional classrooms. 2 of those rooms will be in the previously approved future area, but one of them will be somewhere on campus. I do not know where yet. I haven't received the plan, but I'll make sure that they don't go outside of the limits of where they should be. We'll work with the school board if necessary to move them. But I wanted everybody to know in case somebody confronted you all and asked what's going on.
I appreciate that.
Hey, Brian, I told a white lie. I do have an announcement, actually.
All right.
I got a call or I got an email from Town Hall asking me to contact Jim Clifford about a photo that he was interested in. And when I called him, we talked about the photo thing, and then he also asked about, is this a good time to meet with you and Brian? And I said, we're here. And he said, well, maybe I should just bring the whole thing straight to the planning commission. I said, either way, I mean, that might be the best way to go, because Brian and I obviously can't speak for anybody else. And so he was going to talk to Billy and just try to figure out their next step forward. So there was really no substantial anything. Nothing was decided. Nothing was, it was just a very brief conversation, but I thought that you should know about it.
Sounds good. Look forward to hearing from them. And if they wanted to meet all schedule, that would be the only reason I think to meet, but not in front of the whole group. Or if they're ready and between now and our next meeting to throw some ideas by us and see if they think that's something we're looking at. So
Yep.
Whatever they want. Back to the agenda, we have look at the minutes. We have new business, which is the Wallace Montgomery Master Plan contract amendment, and then the old business is with Wallace Montgomery Master Plan discussion. So has everybody had a chance to read the minutes from last month? Any comments, edits, suggestions? Somebody want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes for December 2021 Planning Commission meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. And on to new and exciting business with Wallace Montgomery. The attachment was sent out earlier today with the link. Any discussion or questions about the proposal? Tony, you want to speak to it at all?
Sure. And Lauren or Ray can jump in if they want. I mean, I think everyone knows that we'd ask them to expand the scope to include actual plan development, draft the elements and get through to adoption. They've done that. They've provided a pretty comprehensive scope, I believe, that gets that done on the schedule we want. And it's really hopeful that you all will endorse it so we can go to the commission immediately on Tuesday and get the ball rolling.
Any comments from the group?
Comments about the proposal that we received?
Yeah, I mean, is there any questions or comments? I believe this is what we asked for.
Yeah, so
Like we were in, we all agreed this is the direction we wanted to go. So make sure everybody's seeing what they thought they were going to see. And
yeah, no, I saw it and I read through it, admittedly a little bit quickly, but I hit on all the points, and it looks very thorough. It looks, I mean, to me, at first glance, it looks good. I think the cost is reasonable for what the product is going to be. I don't have a lot to base that on. I'm going to ask Tony for his thoughts on the proposal, because he's done more of this than I have, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it looked to me like a very thorough document, and with their help, we can put together a good product. Those are my thoughts.
I would have to say, Martin, that I probably haven't been through more of this than you have, but thanks for the confidence. I mean, I was looking for a proposal that gets us from point A to point B, but still maintains the public outreach and the emphasis on community input, and that seems to do that. And we have a lot of confidence in Wallace Montgomery. And I, given the pricing, I thought that was fair, and it fit in with the budget. And some of it will be in the next year's budget, but the conceptual budget that you all came up with 2 years ago when we started the budgeting process.
I think I only have one question. I noticed that it says that for review and adoption, it says forward chapters and hold draft meetings with Planning Commission, 3 meetings. That's on page 3. Would there still be meetings about data collection and analysis in addition to those 3 meetings? Because I also noticed at the bottom of page 3, it notes that an exclusion would be additional meetings not identified in this proposal. So I'm just wondering if those 3 meetings are the only ones that we would have throughout the entire process until August.
I had the exact same question.
And I can answer that question. This new proposal that you got today is in addition to the outreach component that is the part of the contract that we are currently operating under. So that already has some of those meetings with the Planning Commission built in. The only there are not duplications between that contract, so that original proposal and the one that we just submitted a few days ago and that you guys got this morning. The only points that I would like to bring up for our first proposal, we had identified what we called a number of discretionary tasks that we were saying these are outreach related items that the town may wish to consider, but they weren't part of our price proposal for that first contract. Some of those items were specifically called out in this second proposal, but again, there won't be any double dipping or anything like that. Just to clarify if there are any questions about that piece of it.
I would add that, like virtually all consultant contracts, this is an hourly contract, and, they may come in below, but if we want to have more meetings, then we can add more meetings. The contract allows for that. And I've actually priced into the commission proposal, so a little bit of extra time, which, you always put a contingency in.
Can I just ask one question about that? I'm sorry, Brian. So Tony, you said that we could have additional meetings, but it explicitly says additional meetings not identified in this proposal are excluded. So is that something that
it's excluded from the pricing that's in the letter?
Okay.
But like most good consultants, they're always flexible on billing more hours. So, and obviously we would make that call, whether the additional cost is worth the additional meetings. They usually are. And again, I have put a little extra money into the proposal for the commission anyway.
And what
Yes.
I'd like to add on that, working with you all is, and particularly working with Tony, over these months, we'll be giving sort of that monthly update on where we stand, what's happened, and if anything's, going beyond what the expectations are, that's where we sort of raise those so that we're ahead for discussion on these items or things that we may need to change or adjust, because these are always a little, there's always an unknown and always a little bit of flexibility that has to happen through the process.
All right, so our getting what we wanted in front of us don't seem to have any opposition. I don't know if we need to vote on a recommendation, or is this just the proposed? This is basically the staff's proposal to take, and we can endorse it, but we don't necessarily need to vote. I don't think, do we?
Yeah, I think that makes sense to vote on an endorsement. And again, this is something that, I know I don't need to remind you guys. I guess this is I'm just thinking more for the commission, but Jay heavily endorsed going this route. I think Tony said it's a good way to go, so I think it's a good decision, good endorsement.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind taking, just a straw vote
Yep.
to endorse it, I think that would help a lot.
and
Can
this,
I make a point that in addition to all the other work they're doing, they're estimating that they're going to do another 521 hours of work in the next 9 months or so. And I just want to point out that as a volunteer commission, I don't know that we have collectively an extra 600 hours of our personal time to give. And I
That's a
think
great point.
it's really important, and that the town commissioners will recognize that there is only so much hours in the day and so much that should be expected of us. Plus, we're not professionals. So their
Right.
600 hours of targeted work would be like, 1,200 of ours.
agreed. I also I'm just all in favor of this proposal, but if
You want me
we
to
broke
make
it
a
out,
motion, or is it not need to be that official?
maybe I just wanted to say that this is, if you break it out over the life of the master plan, it's not very much money every year. It really,
Yep.
it's a good value, I think. So those are
Absolutely.
my comments. So yeah, probably should make a motion.
I make a motion that we recommend the plan Wallace Montgomery put forward as written to the Poolesville Board of Commissioners for approval.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
You got
But
it,
Tony, your not to exceed amount to the commissioners is going to be higher than 65 grand, right?
Yeah, it's a little funny because there's some money budgeted in this year's budget, which exceeds the contract value of this year's contract. So I actually am only proposing the extra money that we need be placed in the next fiscal year budget. The kind of irony of how things get into the package is that I already wrote the memo that you endorsed this plan. So thank you for doing that. It won't go out till Friday, but I needed to have something in the agenda package saying, and it does mention Jay's, kind of, and myself endorsing the plan, and that you guys had endorsed it as well. We would have pulled it if you had decided something else.
Thank you for delivering. This was good. We talked last meeting, decided that this is the route we wanted to go based on staff input, and then it's delivered exactly as promised. So thank you for that. All right, and our last agenda item is with Wallace Montgomery again for our master plan discussion. Do you guys have something you wanted to talk about specifically?
I really briefly wanted to bring up that we made revisions to the community survey that we discussed at the last meeting. So we've recently sent a PDF of that to Tony, as well as Kathy for posting online. We've also entered all of the questions into SurveyMonkey, so that is ready to go live We suggested that Tony and Kathy may want to take a quick spin through it just to, we double checked to make sure that we didn't see any bugs, but it doesn't hurt to have someone from outside our organization also roll through that at least once to make sure that an external commenter doesn't have any problems. But once that's done, that should be able to go live. So that link can be put on the website, pushed out via email or social media. And we are also working on a press release as well as a flyer that can be used as discussed. So those should be pending very shortly. So this is really getting that first round of public input going. And we're excited to start seeing those results roll in.
I'd just say one thing. Tony, if you don't mind, send me that document. That the commissioner should have a quick look at it, and if there's anything they feel like is egregious or whatever, it may have to be revised. I think that's the process. Am I correct?
Do we want to go down that rabbit hole?
I was gonna say, I thought that we were.
I don't know if the
completely separate
commissioners.
boards.
Hey, this is Jay. Can you hear me? I'm on the phone with you guys.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Hey, I would suggest that we do not get the commissioners involved
Okay.
in any of that, because they're going to look at the entire plan after it's over, and that's what the statute really calls for. So you're going to run with this as best as you can. Now, that doesn't mean, Martin, you couldn't get some input from them on their behalf through you. It's set up to do that way, but I wouldn't involve them any more in the mechanics of this than we have to.
All right. Well, I'm just going to let them know that it's going to go live. And do we know about when it'll go live?
Yeah, I actually was going to raise a point about this, not to complicate your night, but I'm going to complicate your night. We are about to be delivered 20,000 COVID test kits, which we're expected to hand out. And we're also expected to push out a communications plan, which is going to dominate Facebook and the moving sign for the next, what do you think, Martin, 2 weeks, 3 weeks or something like that? I don't sense an enormous conflict here, but I will say that we have limited social media bandwidth.
Sure.
And that this is going to be a big deal. If the library had been open, the county would just be doing this at the library, just like they're doing at all the other libraries. But typically, it's taken them 1.5 years to paint and recarpet, and it's still not open. And so it's kind of fallen on us. And luckily, there are people that are kind of got their arms around this. But it is going to be, very attention grabbing for the next little bit. So I guess I'm asking the commission, what do you want to do, given that that's the scenario right now? My suggestion was just let the county push out all the COVID stuff. They already have a massive, social media organization, and they already publicize every other site. I'm not really sure why we're taking it upon ourselves to push it out, but we seem to be. And if we are, it's going to have to be, page one of the web page, and it's going to be right on the top of Facebook. And I don't know if that's going to elbow out, your critical first few weeks of distribution of this. But, it's just modern life. COVID is just a moving target. And, we weren't expecting to get, tens of thousands of test kits, but that seems to be what's about to happen. So I'm just throwing it out there about, I don't really know what to do. I'm asking you how you all want to handle this.
Just thinking out loud here, is it possible to do like a mini social media push? Really, do we need anything more than just like come to the library or in front of the library at, this time on this date, and then, first come, first serve? I don't think it has to be fancy or anything like that.
Well, you might have seen the email that they were asking if we could retain our public relations firm, which I responded, why do we need to do that?
Right.
Just the rumor mill is going to get people, going to get lines down Fisher Avenue, half a mile long.
I would think that again, like I don't know how many people actually visit our website and are going to see it there. I would think social media and the marquee sign in front of town hall would be plenty. And not to complicate your night, complicating our night, but one of the things I was thinking about too is that like when we're handing out these kits, if we were able to give people a flyer, like a master plan flyer to fill out, that might be a good time to like reach a lot of people. I don't know.
My first knee-jerk reaction on that is the paper involved and who's going to retrieve all that paper and input all that data into the whatever. But my first thought,
Kevin, even if it was just a piece of paper that said visit.
Oh yeah. Like I thought you meant like a survey, paper survey.
I'm open to whatever idea. I'm just thinking that we're going to have a lot of people coming to us, to get something, and everyone here wants to be everyone in the town wants to be involved, engaged, and everything, and like but sometimes it just slips through the cracks. But that would be a great way to make sure we reach that many more people.
My first thought was when Tony was talking about this is just to keep with our plan. There's always going to be something new, a new distraction, a new bell and whistle, a new problem. And we just need to focus on our agenda and our plan. And I think we have a pretty good plan in place. Might not get as much traction as it used to. Who knows? I don't know, but.
Well, you might have to just, recycle it in a few weeks and pull it back up.
Yeah, but I don't see it being a major.
Okay.
I also don't, Tony, if you want to wait a week and make it go live in a week or 10 days, whatever, I don't think that's a problem either. I mean, if you're inundated.
Yeah, like do the COVID thing, let that dust settle for a week and then issue the survey.
Okay, so we'll have it out within a week.
Well, that was just my suggestion. I don't know.
Yeah, I actually, now that you've kind of talked it through, that really sounds like a good plan.
I'm wondering now, I feel like that Martin's idea of being able to hand out something where it's already live might be helpful, because if people are like, oh, in a week it's going to be live, no one's going to remember that then. That flyer is going to get completely lost. Is it something that we can open it on time and then we can look at the end of the window, and if we need to retain it open for another week with another big push, is that something that we could do?
We can certainly leave the survey open longer, and we can just tweak the end date that's provided on the PDF and online. But also, if people are going to be coming to a particular site for picking up the COVID tests or something like that, we can have that flyer or poster ready for that, as long as it's not tomorrow, but we can have that ready and have like a little QR code on it, so if they're waiting in line they can just snap a picture and that would take them right to that site on their cell phones. Another option might be to instead of having a full page piece of paper that gets handed out that basically has a link, we could make something in more of a postcard sized format that provides a brief overview. What is the comprehensive plan? And we need your input. Stated more eloquently than that, but that's the gist of it for sure. If you are looking for something physically to hand out, and then we would leave it up to you as far as the any hard copies of the survey. We always like to have some hard copies available, either for those that don't utilize the internet for whatever reason, or if, since the library's not open, they wouldn't necessarily have that opportunity to use that public resource to take the survey. So just having some of those options, and then we can just coordinate the data input piece of it at a later time without any problem.
Yeah, two things. It's a drive up system. You make a left into by the bank there, Truist, and then you make a right by the vet and you go back out. And we're expecting the first few to be pretty rough from a traffic control perspective. And as I understand it, they're already getting a piece of paper from the county with the two kits. You get 2 kits per person. So if you drive in with 3 people in the car, you can get 6 kits, which we clarified, which the county's goal is to get 2 kits on to the hands of every person in the county, which would be 2 million kits, which apparently they have procured. But they'd be getting 2 boxes. They'd be getting a paper from the county with all kinds of CDC guidance and reporting requirements, and they'd be getting something here. So you need to be comfortable with that too. That's probably not the piece of paper they're going to be looking for, at least, in the first little bit.
Can I just make a point that the county on all of its other sites have like shoved 10,000 kits out the door in like, I don't know, 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So like the idea that we're going to have 20,000 kits and we're just talking about Poolesville, people are going to drive from Germantown. They're going to drive from Gaithersburg. They're going to drive from all over. 20,000 kits is one day, maybe 2. So the idea that we need to delay the start for this interference, it's really, I think, a blip. I don't think it's going to take that long to get rid of 10,000, 20,000 kids.
Plus, Tony, I thought we were only getting 4,000 of them.
We're getting 4,000 to 5,000 per week.
Yeah. So
And they're to be given out in 2-hour increments, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. I think the schedule's Monday through Thursday, starting possibly as early as next Tuesday. So it's going to be multiple trips, and yeah, there's going to be people disappointed because they're going to be at the end of that line. Pretty much every library runs out, from what I understand. So your point is well taken. I don't think, Martin, you're not going to be able to make the left into your house on those times. I'm serious. They're coming in from the left. They're going to make a left into that road where the bank is, and it's going to back up, back to Bassett's.
well, I'll just tell him Tony said I could drive over the Commons. Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely. Just don't hit those decorations.
Hey, Jay, can I ask you a question real quick? Are you still there?
Hey, Tony, just a thought. Have you considered one of the church parking lots that have longer looping?
We secured a storefront for secure storage in that little shopping
okay,
center.
I got it. Yep.
And it has a loading dock.
Yeah.
Jay, are you there?
I'm still here. Yep.
Hey, what was the language you used? You said something about like the planning commission is like, not by law or whatever, but we're tasked with the master plan, and the commissioners are supposed to sort of stay out of the process until the end. What was is there a statute or something?
Yep. It is by law, and
Okay.
it's under the planning article. I could get you the quote if I had a couple seconds, but
No, that's okay.
it's
That's
the
okay.
old 66B, but the
Okay.
jurisdiction to do master plans is within the planning commission exclusively. And the commissioner's only input is to review the final product after it's already been adopted by the planning commission. And then they either get to approve it or disapprove it. They don't get to make changes to it. So it's really supposed to be a separate from the politics. That's the whole idea. You keep the politicians out of it, and the appointees that just deal with planning, which is you guys, are the only ones that are supposed to kind of have their hands on it.
I guess one of the ways to look at it is the commissioners get to approve the funding, but not the scope.
Right. Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys are dealing with growth. I mean, no matter which way you cut it, that's what one of these things is. What do you want your town to be? How do you want all things to grow? Your parks, your houses, everything. And you may have great ideas, but you don't have any fiscal responsibilities, where the commissioners are the ones with the taxing authority and may say, we need to raise taxes, or we're not going to raise taxes to fund this. And, so that it's a division, kind of a separation of government issue, if you want to think of it that way.
Well, given, sorry to kind of hop back and forth, but I don't want to forget about the survey and how it relates or doesn't relate to this COVID test handout. Given the speed at which we're anticipating these people going through, they're going to be in cars. The fact that they're going to have their hands full with kits and other pieces of paper, and the fact that there might not be that high a percentage of Poolesville residents or even community residents. There's a chance that we could be getting people from outside of our community. I think signage might be our best bet. I'm rarely in favor of handouts unless they're really, it's got to be a special case, right? Adding the paper out there, that anyway, it's more waste in my opinion. But signage could be helpful to remind people. I don't know if we can get the sign close enough to use a QR code or not. But if that was, that's a signage with a link, don't visit the town of Poolesville Facebook page or the town website, something of that nature, to remind them that the survey is happening and we do want their participation.
Yeah, it dawned on me that they're gonna have to drive right by the marquee sign, which is gonna have that message too.
Right.
Potentially, if people are turning from the right though onto that, will they be able to do that, or will they have to come around, Tony? Is that the plan, that they would have to go around?
We had to file a plan with the county, and it definitely has them making the left in front
Okay.
of I guess Dunkin' Donuts there.
Okay, because the only thing I was thinking is then if there's another thing on the commons with like a bigger sign, like Brian was saying, with a QR code that potentially they could scan as they're sitting in their car waiting. I mean, I assume it's going to be relatively slow moving at times. I don't know, maybe not.
So real quick question. You're trying to get the survey for the people in town and some within the surrounding area. And if you have people coming from Germantown and they're sitting there doing nothing, you might start getting really odd things coming in.
That's a good point. Because they're bored. Oh, I'll take the survey. Yeah, enter all kind of stuff in there.
And just as a reminder on that note, the first question of the survey does ask whether the respondents live in Poolesville, own other property within the town, own a business in town, whether they work in town or just visit, or if they live within the zip code but outside of town limits. And then with the online version, we've incorporated some logic prompts. So if they select that they live in Poolesville, they get forwarded to the next batch of questions, which asks how long they've lived in Poolesville, whether they own or rent their home, and why they live in Poolesville. But if they don't select that live in Poolesville option, it skips over those and takes them back to the remainder of the responses. And we can do a little exporting on the backside to sort of have complete results, but then also sort of separate some out so that we have a subset of those that are Poolesville residents. It's just a matter of how we do the end exporting of the data that we collect. Not recommending one way or another, but just putting that out there for consideration.
I think if it's if there's a sign that says it's available, go to the town website or the Facebook page. If you're for town residents or whatever, that's probably enough. QR code is probably going to be difficult for people in cars for one, and two, it's a little bit too easy access to somebody that's got time to kill. That might not really have the best interest of the town in mind. So I think is reasonable at this point. It's a good opportunity to get some, it's just another reminder that this is happening. So, and I think Amanda's right that it would be good to have it up and running when the reminders are out.
Somebody want to kind of boil that plan down, so make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I'll boil it down. Put up some signs to remind people that we have the survey ongoing for town residents. for community residents, not town, community residents, and where they can access it.
We have in the shed behind town halls, sandwich boards that hold 3 by 6 foot signs. So if you design them for 3 foot by 6, I'm sorry, 2 by 3, 2 foot by 3 foot. 2 foot by 3 foot sandwich boards. We have like a good many of them in the shed behind town hall.
I assume we have a vendor somewhere that makes signs by tomorrow or something like that.
Yeah, there's one we use for Poolesville Day. They make them the same day.
I think that Kevin Stram should take one of those signs, like stand out there and do that. Like that.
I'm gonna, yeah, I put that on my calendar.
You'd be good at that, Kevin.
Yeah.
Do we want to change the, extend the window at all? Are we good with the same? Is it generally, it was till the end of February? Is that correct, Lauren?
Correct.
Actually, I don't want to change that because I think we were talking about an extra week is going to do nothing for people. I think it needs to be an end of the month.
And sometimes I think if you give people too much time, they just figure they'll come back to it some other time. And yeah, I think that we're giving them a fair amount of time. Like, if somebody's away, they'll be able to get back, whatever. So yeah.
The trash survey, which got 290 responses, I would say 200 of them came in the first week.
Yep.
We got to beat the trash survey. It's our goal.
We better beat the trash.
Bring it.
That cover our topics for this evening, I believe. Anything else we need to discuss?
It'll be discussed on Tuesday night at the planning commission or the town commission meeting, and then we'll move forward.
Sounds great.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Have a great night, everybody. Thank you very much.